What is going on, guys? Again, it's your boy Get Hooked TV here, back at it again with another video for you guys. So for the last two videos, the first one I had a salmon river fishing video on, and basically you guys showed a lot of appreciation on that video, so thank you very much. And the other one, I had a Cape Cod Canal tips and tricks video for you guys. So today I wanted to go out fish in my local place where I know there's a lot of big catfish and carp around, but the weather was very sloppy today. I don't know why I keep stuttering. And basically the weather was very sloppy. I was not able to go out. So today I'm making a special video for you guys who are just starting out, or at least even going to go to the... So I want to talk about some lures fishing for the fall run. So this isn't any Cape Cod Canal or anything else. It's strictly beach fishing on New Jersey, Long Island, wherever you guys know. I'm going to be covering some of the most popular lures and some rigs to use in my setup. So let's get right into this video. So basically I want to start with lures. What lures should you use? Well, there's a lot of different variety of lures around in stores and all that, but I'm going to be covering some of the lures that you most importantly need, that you don't want to waste your money on some other lures. So let's get on with this. A good lure I've been having a lot of success on with when we had some slow days of fishing are shads. This is a storm shad, and the eyes are off because, you know, a lot of things happen with this lure. The hook's very nice. So basically how you want to work this lure is reel it slow, let it rub its belly on the bottom or close to the bottom, and you gotta feel this tail flutter. If you don't feel flutter, you're not working it correctly. So this is a lure that could really stand out, and it could attract some fish that you know, don't really bite, and a lot of people weren't catching. Next up we have here is a bucktail. Bucktails, very important in the surf when you're fishing sandbars or, you know, holes. You know what I'm talking about. And this lure is really like Long Island. That's a very rocky place where there's a lot of rocks, and basically why do you want to fish this? It basically resembles any bait that you could imagine. When this tail gets wet, it looks like a fish in the water, like honestly a fish. And when you fish it, you reel it slow, give it some nice jerks up, light jerks, not any aggressive. And depending on the condition, if it's a stormy day or a calm day, if it's a stormy day and the waves are really crashing, you might want to go to that. Let's see if I have any. This is a little bit too big, but I think you guys get it. So the harder the waves are crashing, the heavier you want to go so you could reach the bottom. And basically this thing is just a pure bass candy. Now super strike lures are super important on the surf. Let me give you some reasons why. Is you can fish them at night. And before I say anything else, when you buy a super strike lure, there are, I think, 3 color differences. The black eye, as I am showing you guys right here, this is a slow sinking. There are red eyes that are extra heavy, so you can get a little bit more distance you need, and they sink a little bit quicker. And there are green eyes that float. And if you... Personally, my favorite are the black eyes, because they reach the best distance, they are most natural action. So when you're working it, you want to just reel in, give it on like 4 cranks and then pop. 4 cranks, pop. If you don't see this lure hitting to the top surface, give your cranks a little bit faster, or not faster, but like more aggressive pop, so it like reaches to the top. This gives a lot of splash and attracts a lot of big fish. Same thing here. I have 2 of these in the black eye. These are very good lures to use. The green eyes are very important. Is if it's no waves, just a calm day. Pencil poppers work, but mostly what I use is this, and reason why is because of this big cup. It's got like a little bit of a larger cup in the mouth. It floats, and if you give it a strong jerk, then it will create a lot of splash and it will annoy the fish to hitting the lure. So I want to talk about a lure that has become a real favorite of mine that I probably caught the most fish on in the surf, and it doesn't break the bank. So this is a Tsunami talking popper. This lure does easily 80-85% of damage on my trips. Reason why is the action is very natural. The size and shape are spot on for pretty much any bait, like peanut bunker or adult bunker. And funny story, when I was fishing this lure, there was I think it was in Monmouth Beach, Monmouth, whatever you guys want to call it. And when I was fishing this lure, there was probably the quickest blitz I've ever seen. A lot of bass, 30-25 inches, and they were all just like along the shoreline, but it was such a quick blitz that the bait was moving so fast that you can't really keep up with it. So what I did was, guys were catching, they're all small fish. So what I did is I sprinted all the way in front of the blitz. So if you just go right into the blitz, like in the middle or a little bit closer to the end, while you're fighting that fish, that blitz is already out there. You're going to have trouble catching up. So I moved up a little bit, and basically what I did was I casted this lure. I think it was this lure, or I'm pretty sure it was a clear. I don't want to find it, but it was a clear one. And basically what I did was I worked it, and I had a 25-pound fish just hit the lure. Just destroyed. And there were like 20-25-inch fish following it when I was bringing it in. And there was a sandbar in front of me, and the water was just freezing cold. I had pants on. I wasn't ready for the trip, you know. And basically there was a sandbar in front of me, so it was sand, and then it was like a lot of deep water, and then it was sand again. So when I brought the fish into that first sand part, the line broke, and the fish was just barely hanging on to that sandbar. So I just ran into the freezing water and grabbed the fish, and I got hooked in the hand pretty badly because he kept shaking his head. But it was probably one of the happiest days of my life. So this lure works very natural, so you just want to pencil pop it, and works very nice. This is a Super Strike bottle darter. The reason why this lure is very good is when there's either current, it works like this with the current, or if there are very strong waves, like, you know, stormy weather, this lure, I guess it beats the wind. It casts alright, and if you cast that out into those waves, what this big lip does, what that lip does, is it digs in, and it basically gives you this with the waves. So that's probably very, very effective on some big fish when they're feeding on those type of conditions. SP minnows, also good in the surf. They work just fine. I think I got this one that looks a bit more like an adult bunker. These work much, much better than a lot of other things do. So when bass are finicky, these lures, the action, the distance, and the drop on this lure. Sometimes if your lure's like, if you feel it just keep hitting the sand, then if you have a smaller one, go for a smaller one. But if it's pretty deep, I recommend you using a bigger one so it gets down a little bit further. One of the most popular lures in Montauk or any other places with current are darters. This yellow one is very, very popular down in Montauk and Long Island. Other places where there's a ton of current. It could be used in inlets. Basically what this lure does is this mouth and this angle. So if the current's moving this way, you want to cast out just like that way. And while you retrieve your lure in, it's already going to be over here somewhere. And this current's pushing the lure, and it's basically already moving naturally like bunker or whatever bait there is out, and it could trigger a fish to bite. Yozuri Mag Darter, same thing like the darter, the Super Strike that I just showed. Hooks are nice. This is like more of a bunker. Also good. Gibbs Pencil Popper. Had a few fish on this. Depending on the size, I bought like a smaller one. Doesn't really, like, it casts nice, but not as far as you think it does, so. Super Strike, metal lip swimmers. These are super, super important when you got bass activity, and they're basically specialized on big bait or small bait. So you could either buy a smaller metal lip in a bunker color or this ginormous one. So when you get the metal lip out of the package, do not mess with the lip. If you mess with the lip, then it could either swim sideways like this. It'll have a lot of problems. So you don't want that. This isn't the best at casting, so I recommend you using this when the bait are in close and the bass are in close. This is when it could really spot out. So price differences, my biggest recommendation is this Talkin' Popper. The reason why is if you look at a Super Strike lure, let's use this one. This lure could be up to $20 to $25. This Talkin' Popper could go about to $7 to $8. Of course, the hardware isn't the best. There's no swivel. I've had a few of these break on many bluefish before, so don't expect the hardware to be so nice on the cheap to this. But I don't really know. I think this could be equal when you're comparing price differences, because this is a bit more durability. This has more action and price right. Hooks aren't the best on this too, so if you want to switch them out, use hook cutters and replace your hooks, or split ring pliers. Gear. What is really important about gear is big recommendation is a VS 150 X series, the newest. And the reason why I recommend this is that when you're fishing the fall run, there could be some sandbars out in front, so some people normally can't. With normal gear, they don't want to go over there because they don't want to ruin their equipment and all that. This reel, you won't have to be afraid of it failing on you. This is just a complete tank. And reason why is if there's a sandbar out a few 15, 20 feet out more in front of you, you could just, if it's too deep, then I don't know if you could go, but if you have a wetsuit, you could swim this with this lure, and it's just a complete warhorse and won't fail on you, and you can reach the fish much easier. Another good thing is the bailless feature, so if the fish are out farther and there's no sandbar in front of you, and you really need to get that lure out without the bail flipping, this bailless could really work. Not the smoothest reel in the world, but definitely the most durable reel. I got the power knob, so it could give you some leverage. The small knob really doesn't work for me. What I normally pair that up with is my 9-foot St. Croix Mojo. That rod is built beautifully and casts lures very far and is just amazing. Talking about bucktails, what do I use for bucktails are fat cow jig strips right there. And the reason why I use those are because I think I have one with one on. Yeah. Unlike Uncle Josh's pork rind, they don't dry up. These are super, super durable. They got, I think, fabric under these, so if a bluefish hits it, then it won't really rip it up that much. And yeah, so very important when using. I normally use pipes for the fall run. I made these myself. See, there's a bit more lures, but they're basically almost the same like those. I have another talking popper in a different color, but almost the same. This is a Tsunami little neck. And what I basically use this for is for, you know, if you got a big blitz coming in, you could just swipe your lure out and swipe it back in. Really quick and nice. Bag. Preferable bag. Use whichever bag that will fit like pipes in like those, which is much easier. So talking about setup, I would normally use, in my canal video I talked about using 65-pound leader. This one I used 50 or 60, but normally I use 50 because it's a bit more flexible and it gives like your lure a bit more action. And the reason why is why so heavy. Bluefish, as much as I like catching them, they put up a nice fight, but they are the biggest pain to like release and, you know, handle. So when you use a heavy leader, it won't cut you off while you're fighting the fish and losing your 20 or 15, you know, however much you paid for your lure. Pliers I talked about in my canal video, very important too. You could have this by your side when you're unhooking a fish, so you could get you back out there much quicker. Really important tool is a very important tool is using these tactical angler clips. So why is because when you're using one lure on, I don't think anyone likes tying direct much and wasting a lot of time on just tying. So if there's a big blitz and bass are on something else that you're using and you want to cut it off and just use it again, no. These really make your life easier, so I'll give you an example. Basically what you do is, when you have that point first, that's facing down a little bit, basically what you do is you put your lure's nose on it, and then just slide it in, and boom, you got it. Pretty durable. I haven't had much issues, and I take it off just like that. Really. Pretty durable, and it will make your life much easier. Swivels, I normally like using VMC swivels just because their quality and their hardware are much better. Never broke on me much, so really will help you much more. Measuring tape, just in case if you catch a fish and you want to measure it, I think. Yeah, so I think that's about it. So thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and if you want to go out fishing with me, just leave a comment down in the video. Let me know. Probably give me your number, and we could assemble a date, and I'll be recording a video with you there. So, like, subscribe, leave a comment, share this video, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.